The return of knife culture.
Putting in our regular Activia.
Knives.
All that and more.
Cody, punch Mike Myers.
Nah, I got a better idea.
I mean, that's kind of what he does. Just fucking breathes.
Yep.
Mike, Mikey, Michael. It's all Myers.
It's all that Myers to me.
The only thing that Myers.
Yeah.
Oscar Myers, because he's a big old wiener.
His first name is M-I-C-K. M-I-K-E. Something like that.
Fuck!
I just got stabbed in the brain with...
Stabbed. Welcome to episode 43 of the Super Media Brothers podcast. I am Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
What's up, motherfuckers?
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks to a shitload of medication right now.
But you won't be.
Oh, no, we won't be. Today, we present to you the culmination of our month-long spooky activity episode shenanigan shit. I don't even think that's the official title, but I just said a lot of S's.
It's going to be that.
That's right, because this episode is bringing you the fun, the fuckery that is the entire Halloween franchise that we have so affectionately called the Slashpoint paradox for a multitude of fucking reasons.
And boy, does it ever. Gets it like every level of fucked up.
Yeah. So, before we even talk about the franchise, just talk about like how synonymous is this fucking character with this holiday?
I mean, if not the mask itself, it's more of like the knife itself. Like,
yeah,
anywhere you consider, horror film or like a slasher or gore film, a knife is prevalent now as a murder weapon. But also now they've pretty much thrown a mask on pretty much any character and considered like a horror icon now.
Yeah.
But especially being the white mask with the hair on it, that's like pretty much the Halloween theme there.
Thanks, William Shatner, for having a fucking Halloween mask produced.
If you weren't scary before, you're scary now.
You're really
terrifying.
You're terrifying. You're gonna knock it out of the park.
Oh my.
Stab track.
Stab track?
Yeah, stab track. So, yeah, that's, as a child growing up, that mask, the chef's knife, the kitchen knife, all of that. Now, granted, Psycho being probably the godfather of slasher films with, the butcher's knife that was used in there. Yeah, I mean, there was Hitchcock, but, decades later, 1978 rolls around. Oh, here's fucking John Carpenter giving us, on a shoestring budget, a very cerebral, terrifying film. That could happen to any fucking neighborhood.
I mean, minus the coming back and resurrection part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was ever really intended to go that far, but here we fucking are 11 films later.
All because of a cash cow. Cash grab.
Yeah. So, I guess we'll get into it. And getting into the Slashpoint paradox title, this entire franchise has pretty much become a choose-your-own-adventure at this point.
I mean, one film pretty much went its own adventure outside of the rest of the continuity.
But I guess what we can do is we can start from, the content as far as release order for every film. And then I guess at the end we will be like, hey, if you want to watch like this, or this in this order, fucking do it. Because every one of these movies have their own charm and their own dumb bullshit to it. And might we just go ahead and start off with the 1978 original directed by John Carpenter, Halloween, which again, we've reiterated this several times before on the show. This is probably one of the greatest horror films ever.
Pretty much the trope of horror at this point.
The final girl stuff. But what I loved about this one, it was not overly gory. It was very just...
psychological.
Yeah, very dread-filled, very cerebral, very just bluntly, like, could happen. Like I said, could happen to anybody.
I mean, you get a lot of the camera angles where you see just either a glimpse of or a full figure in the distance at some point, and you turn around 1 second, he's gone the next second. So you get that mind fuck with it. And then, just out of nowhere, he comes out of, just pretty much any space, and he just takes you out. And like you said, it's not overly gory with this one. It's more of just like that quick snap, and that's it.
Oh, yeah. And... like, we're not going to get into, like, ridiculous amount of specifics as far as, like, going through each movie from front to back, because that would be, like, a fucking 5-hour podcast.
Yeah, we'd be here all night.
So we're just going to kind of talk about, the movies individually and give, like, oh, these were kind of cool points and maybe what the fuck was this moments. So in the first film, obviously, it's very straightforward. Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis being the iconic Scream Queen as the Laurie Strode character is, babysitter, typical, like, babysitters and getting murdered, blah, blah, blah. So most of you have probably seen this movie, hopefully. So she becomes the ultimate final girl in her confrontation with Michael Myers, who is introduced as just this menacing psychopath that had been locked up for killing his sister when he was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And according to his child psychologist, Dr. Loomis, who spent 15 years trying to reach him, just decides, motherfucker, I can't.
Yeah.
You too far gone, motherfucker.
So proceeds to, keep him in wraps and keep him contained, which that doesn't work out.
No, because by sheer magic that I can only just call magic,
quote,
he escapes in the middle of a fucking storm. They're driving up to the sanitarium, and the motherfucker just hijacks the car, and we're just like, hey, he can drive.
In the 15 years he's been locked away, how does he know how to drive a car?
Well, according to Dr. Loomis, maybe somebody gave him driving lessons. And, one of his random, like, ramblings, just incoherent rambling. There's going to be a lot of talk about Dr. Loomis's character in the first fucking 6 films.
Yeah.
So prepare for that shit.
I mean, this person killed somebody. Why would you give them access to a vehicle for driving lessons? Like, I don't understand that line, but...
well,
okay, Loomis.
Maybe one of the other inmates, maybe they just... I don't fucking know. But, goddamn... his brain is just, like, so far out there, he's willing to just believe whatever the fuck happened. But all he knows is that this motherfucker is on his way back to Haddonfield to finish what he started. Doesn't know why. I mean, he knows why, but...
in Loomis' world, he knows why.
Yeah, exactly. So, that does happen. He goes back, kills 3 motherfuckers, hunts down Laurie Strode. He fucking winds up finding him, shooting his ass off the roof of this house, well, the second floor, falling out of it, onto the grass below.
Makes a good first impression.
Oh, yeah.
On the grass.
Dude, that was some Wile E. Coyote shit.
That was like the first thing I noticed. Like, that was like cartoony style. Like, it wasn't humorous intention. It was just, if you look at it at a certain angle, it was very humorous because it had that feel of like the Wile E. Coyote cartoon where he just falls hundreds of feet in the air onto the ground and just you see the outline.
Yeah. Well, and the outline we referred to is like he looks down, he's on his back, looks back at Laurie. Was that the boogeyman? And I do believe it was. Turns back around.
No, my God.
Vanished into thin air like a fucking ghost.
And that was the trope that he pretty much started was first he's there, now he's not. So where the fuck is he?
He's Magic Mike.
Minus the sexy bits.
I don't know, dude.
I mean, in one of the films, they kind of get that idea.
Yeah, but we'll make it. We'll make it there. We'll make it there.
We'll make it or break it.
That's right. So you move on to Halloween 2 that came out 3 years later that was directed by Rick Rosenthal. Now, this was one of those films where the original intention was for it to be a anthology series, but I don't remember who it was. They didn't want the Michael Myers character to be dead, so they brought it back for a sequel. Now, this sequel actually came out 3 years later, but takes place in the same night that the first film did. So it is literally a direct pickup from him falling out of the roof. In fact, the first moments of that movie are him. It's the recap from the first film. And that's where we get the Wile E. Coyote impression from.
Yep.
So Loomis goes out the front door, fucking scrapes the grass. He's got blood on it. The fucking neighbor comes out. What is all this stuff? Call the police.
Call an ambulance.
Is this a joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is. And
Yeah.
cue the music. And so yeah.
Yeah, basically Laurie gets hauled off to the hospital to be treated for her wounds, and then Loomis presumes to, go and find Michael wherever the fuck he's at, which leads to a,
random killing spree. Shit.
Yeah, which leads to a continuity point. Like, okay, how is it that he goes to hunt for Michael when he knows he went after Laurie the entire first film? How does he not go into the hospital and wait for him there?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of gets explained away later, but I think my big argument was like, okay, he obviously knows he's missing from the ground. He shot him. Wouldn't you think he went back into the fucking house? Like, if he's waiting in the shadows and watches him walk away, he just sneaks back into the house because Laurie's still upstairs. She just got fucking left alone. But,
For the sake of film.
Yeah, for the sake of the film, we get POV shots of Michael kind of walking around different neighborhoods. And I can see what they were doing with this. He hears the radio reports of what's happening, and we actually assumed that he's heard where the victims were taken to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he's got a path to go to, but not before he fucks up a dude's sandwich. That looked like a fucking delicious ham sandwich that lady was making, and he just fucks it all up.
Just bloody hell.
Dude, he wanted mayonnaise. He did not want ketchup. He did not want your fucking hand ketchup all over his fucking ham sandwich.
In which, another thing I had a problem with was the exposure of Michael in some scenes. Like, he literally just came into frame, stood there, and then took the knife and then walked back out. It was like, my thing with horror is, yes, we know he exists, but don't give away the character so much to the point where we build up that tension, that the anxiety, basically.
Yeah, like the boogeyman in the shadows type deal. Because, which a kill we'll get to later on in this movie, like in one of the key shots. Like, but he walks over and fucks this dude's sandwich up, takes the knife, and then immediately murders like the next, person in the next house he goes to, right in the fucking chin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he stabs his way all the way to the fucking hospital where Laurie Strode's at, and this is where the tension gets like built up because this hospital. I don't know how they ran the shit back in the Gap. This was 1981, but in the movie it was supposed to be 78. I don't fucking know what they were doing.
But they only had like 5 or 6 people working.
Yeah, it was like a...
It was the two ambulance drivers, the 2 paramedics, whatever. They had like 3 or 4 nurses. Like, there were no doctors or nothing on site.
Just a skeleton crew.
Yeah.
Literally skeleton crew. So... he goes through and randomly kills off almost damn near every fucking employee there. Which the fucking the therapy tub kill was really fucking crazy.
Yeah, because he chokes old boy in the background with his necklace.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to pretty much drown the main chick in the hot scalding water as he turns the temperature up to like over 120 degrees.
Yeah.
Bracey brings her up from the water, and she's just like peeling skin and everything. Yeah.
God damn. I think the deaths in that movie that we cringed at the most was the syringe deaths.
Man, like, okay, we found out why there were no doctors on site because he already killed the doctors.
Yeah, by injecting them with good old fashioned oxygen.
Yeah, in the eye.
And in the fucking temple. Ugh. That's the kill we're talking about, too. When one of the nurses goes to check on the fucking head doctor of the hospital, she rolls him around.
Dr. Mixter.
Mixter. Mr. Mixter!
Which is a dumb name.
No shit. But anyway, he turns around. He's like, here's a needle in your eye. And she's like, and she backs up. And this is where you were, because I remember you looking at this, you're like, oh, that was fucking cool. Because she's backing up, and there's nothing but like darkness. And this is what we're talking about, how it needs to be. The mask just comes into frame and not lights up, but it's just dark lit, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, like it just, you get that dread all of a sudden, and it's so great.
You just don't expect it, and then he needles her in the fucking temple.
But I think some of the cooler sequences, like just cinematography wise, the scene with the one nurse that got killed, she was on the bed basically, and she was hanging over, and he stuck a catheter needle up her arm and drained her blood out onto the floor. And Jimmy, one of the paramedics, found her. Well, he ended up walking into the room, and the way the lighting was, it was just like her upper body, her arm, and part of the bed, and that was it. Like everything in the background was black, and it was just beautifully lit. Then all of a sudden he walks in, turns around to go and find someone else to help, slips on the blood, which I thought was comedically funny.
Fuck yeah.
And it pans up, over the top, and you see him and her next to each other with the very red blood puddle around them. And it was just like very good sequence of shots, I thought.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like that happens, and then of course like we eventually get to where Lori has had a reaction to the drugs, so she's kind of in and out of it, trying to get through the hospital because Michael has found her, and there's like a little chase sequence happening where she eventually gets out of the hospital into the parking lot into a car to try to leave, but lo and behold, like a true slasher film, Michael Myers has slashed the fucking tires on these cars.
He doesn't slash bodies, he slashes tires too.
That's right.
Because he's tired of everybody running away from him.
He's tired of shit, man.
Yeah.
Safety first. Use rubbers. Do not break them.
But speaking of Lori, let's talk about something with her. Like, she was like catatonic. Like, she was gone because of the medication. And she suddenly, out of nowhere, was able to walk and have some motor function as soon as Mike walked in.
Yeah. I mean, I think a part of it was her. She had the reaction, but I think that may fall into... how do I say this? Like, your body goes into, like, fight or flight, and you just kind of go... Yeah, adrenaline, and you just go into autopilot and get the fuck out.
No, I get that. But I think they would have built up a better sequence with her still trying to break away from the medication paralysis. Him walking in, and then she suddenly came to just in time to get away.
See, that probably would have been fucking cool.
But that's just me.
Yeah. So, she's in the car. Jimmy gets in the car, and... presumably to drive them away, but he can't finish a full sentence, and he just passes out head on the horn, and he's pretty much concussed from smacking his head on the bloody ass floor.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. She pulls him off. Meanwhile, Loomis has gone to the school and seen everywhere that Michael has been, and his partner comes and lets him know, hey, there's a fucking marshal here to take you out. The governor's ordered you to get the fuck out of here. So reluctantly he leaves, but she informs him that there was a secret file locked away, and here's one of the tropes, or not really trope. Here's one of the plot points that I have always fucking hated and disagreed with, just because I am a fan of the murderer not necessarily having a real like draw to do something other than like his own psychotic nature. Just random attacks would be a lot more frightening. Oh, look, he's going after his fucking sister, which we find out in Halloween 2 from 81 that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister, and she was adopted by another family, and the documents were sealed away to protect said family. But as we know, that didn't fucking work.
Because he somehow knew.
Yeah. So, that one scene when that happens, and Dr. Loomis tells the fucking sheriff to turn it back around and go to the hospital.
Yeah, he pretty much points him at gunpoint and made him freaking go like deja vu, like all of a sudden turns a freaking U-turn.
Deja vu!
Proceeds to go, and it's like, are you going to? And the cop's like, I have no other choice. The only thing I can lose is my career.
Shit, what I've got to lose is my job. So they pull up, and Lori is clawed out of the back of the fucking car to the ground, and she can't even muster the the words until conveniently they get in right inside the glass doors, and they shut behind them, and she's like, help me, like loud.
Which was funny because not 5 minutes earlier she was screaming at Jimmy like loud, Jimmy, and then he just falls backward. Yeah,
and you know what the fucked up thing is? It was loud, It was very, like, she was loud. It was quiet. They were just inside the door, not even maybe like 50 feet from her. How did they not fucking hear it?
That's a good question.
Those are like glass doors with obvious like crack between the two doors. You could fucking hear that shit.
Also, she banged on that door.
Hardcore,
like hammered that door, shook it a couple of times. They eventually got to her,
this
walked
is the
her
best
in,
shit ever.
And here comes Mike just tapping it with his head and just walks through the damn door like it was fucking just like brittle glass. I'm like, how much fucking pain did she put on that fucking glass? Like, she literally like hit that thing.
She softened it up for him, dude.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, here you go, big brother.
He just, and it was so fucking funny because he just walks, just gingerly walks it. Yeah, nothing, dude. It was like that candy glass that you just poke and it just shatters everywhere.
He's like, oh, hi, pow.
So he gets in there, and to make a long story short, he takes the fucking one sheriff out and chases Lori and Dr. Loomis into this fucking ether and oxygen tank room, which he stabs Loomis. She winds up shooting his fucking eyes out, so he's blindly swinging at him. So they decide, hey, let's turn all these tanks and shit on. So they do that. She gets out. Loomis is like, it's time, Michael. Clicks the lighter and blows the whole fucking room up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sumbitch comes out on fire, still alive, and then just dies. Now, the original intention, like for the anthology series, was to just kill Michael Myers off right there
and be done with it. But there was such a following of the character that they had to continue the series.
Yeah, but not before they fucking put out the
third installment.
Very 50-50, in my opinion. Good for the gore, different in a very cult film kind of way, but very abysmal Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Which basically follows the idea of, yeah, shit happens on Halloween, but not the same as the last two films. So we end up getting this really annoying commercial about it's 4 more days till Halloween, and it's the Shamrock.
The Silver Shamrock
Company. And what they're doing is advertising their 3 masks, like they said in the video. How is it that a very well established company manages with just 3 masks selling them? I have no idea.
Yeah, and conveniently titled, or they are conveniently called the Halloween 3.
Right.
It's like, ha, yay.
Yeah, plain on words.
Right.
But yeah, we end up having a doctor who's constantly drunk and just very, very flirty with every fucking woman he comes across.
Yeah.
Meets up with this one girl that apparently had her dad killed off miraculously.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. So they end up going to, what was the town called again?
I think it was called Silver.
Or Shamrock, Silver Shamrock, something like that. Yeah, basically the hometown of the industry.
Yeah.
So you end up trying to figure out, okay, so what's going to happen here? Where's Mike in this one? Well, what they did was they still had bits and pieces tied into the film. It was mostly, okay, there was one part where they had the original film on the screen on a TV.
Like as a commercial.
As like a commercial, but that was really about it. I mean, there was not a whole lot of tie-in besides like a lot of the main characters from the old films being,
cameo basically,
yeah. And then maybe a play on the music, but that was about it.
Yeah. But other than that, like, they find what it all boils down to is like you have all these like kind of suited up like gangster, not like gangster, but like old thug looking fuckers in suits, just kind of killing motherfuckers. But come to find out, they're actually androids. They're actually robots. And Drunkard McGee finds all these sons of bitches. And there's like a subplot of the Stonehenge being stolen. But it turns out like that is powering the chips they're using to put into these masks, because what it all boils down to is the countdown commercials. You see this fucking commercial so many times. Like, fucking much.
It becomes so ingrained in your mind that you literally go to sleep thinking, oh my, how many days to Halloween? Like, it's that repetitive.
Yeah.
So he ends up meeting the head company dude of the company, whatnot, and finds out that they make the masks with the chips on them as a kill switch. basically.
Yeah.
So the kids who all put them on,
when the commercial tells them to,
with the pumpkin that lights up on the screen is like a
trigger
effect, and it blows a hole in their head, basically, in the back of where the mask is. Now, he has a kind of interesting point whenever he explains why he's doing it. It's because everybody's not appreciating the actual holiday itself. It's more of, money and consumerism basically. So he wants to try and, in a own fucked up way, set things right. Now, there was the final day hit, and it was supposed to completely annihilate every child on the United States at 7 p.m. But, there's a thing called time zones.
Yeah.
So we don't know if, it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time or 7 p.m., West Coast or Central time. So is it only going to kill, certain kids at one point and then the next point? And we don't know.
Yeah, but all we do know is Drunkard McGee decides to call up the television station that he can, any TV station locally can get a hold to and demand they stop playing the commercials because, fuck this, it's going to trigger all these, because it implodes their heads or whatever. But, he does take out the factory heads. He takes out the androids and the factory owner in really cosmic, weird sci-fi way. But the movie literally ends with him yelling "stop" into the telephone, and that's it.
We don't even know if any of the kids got killed off or not, because he ended up getting all but one station to stop playing the commercial.
Yeah,
and we only can assume like Schrodinger's cat syndrome. It could have happened or it couldn't have happened. We don't know.
Right meow. We need to know. Meowoween.
But yeah, this one was probably the most furthest away from Halloween that we're aware of, as a consumer. Now, like you said with John Carpenter, they're trying to make it to where it's like, okay, Halloween has these certain events that happen, and they're trying to build a film or a TV series based off of each event that happened. So it's totally separate from Mike Myers' character.
Yeah.
So this was basically that concept, even though that's not what people wanted.
No, people wanted Michael Myers because they saw him in 2 films already. But, I understand the idea, and it would have been a good idea, yearly to put a new concept anthology out that, holy shit, every year on Halloween, something fucked up has happened. And it was very Twilight Zone-ish, and it was really a cool concept. But, again, like we've stated, the Michael Myers character has already become synonymous with this film franchise. So, the franchise actually lay dormant because Season of the Witch came out in 1982, and it was actually directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who edited the first Halloween film. Now, cut 6 years later, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And they made goddamn sure to put The Return of Michael Myers on every fucking promotional piece possible.
Mm-hmm.
Which, understandably so, it's like, hey, we want this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that really wanted some in-depth shit on 4, 5, and 6... we're just going to kind of skim through it because this is a little sub-trilogy within this fucking franchise, and it ties into all the timeline shit. So, in the 4th Halloween, Laurie Strode and her husband or partner were killed in an automobile accident, but they had a daughter, and this is who the story follows. Little Danielle Harris, the great child actress, in these, 4 and 5, actually, which is a great child actress, but Jamie is her character's name, and you find out that she has been taken in as a foster child to another family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, Michael Myers comes back because he's being transported, and he's been in a coma since the events of Halloween 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets transported. He overhears some medical team members talking about the fact that he's got a niece, and he just all of a sudden oh shit, I gotta kill again because my family's still alive.
Trigger word, basically.
Yeah, so slaughters them, then, the drill, makes his way to fucking Haddonfield and fucking murders everybody in sight, and he finally gets to Jamie and her stepsister. Well, they call her stepsister in the 5th one, which is really ridiculous that they went from foster to step, but who the fuck is keeping count here? So they get to him. Some brutal fucking kills in this one, which the dude getting his throat ripped out in the truck was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The little house sequence where he kills old boy with the Or when he kills the old girl with the shotgun through her sternum.
Yeah,
into the
he literally
wall.
shoves like a freaking blade up her stomach.
What was a shotgun? Like,
yeah,
woof, like, god damn, dude.
Like, you were waiting for her to get shot, but no, he was just like, I don't know how to use this thing.
Yeah.
Shove it.
Shove it. Ow! Shove it. You're welcome. Any fucking way.
No, he pushed it real good.
Yeah, he did. He pushed it real good right through her.
Mm-hmm.
So, the climax of 4 is that Jamie and her foster sister are making a getaway in a truck that was ran by a shit ton of gun-toting drunkards that were trying to hunt him down. But he kills them. They get away in the truck. He's on the truck. She slams him into this fucking field that there's just a conveniently located mine shaft right behind him. So the sheriff and everybody come and they just blow his ass away into this mine shaft. Presumably it. And yeah, so we get back and they're taking Jamie upstairs to draw a bath for her. And the little bitch fucking pulls her Halloween costume mask on and stabs her fucking foster mom.
With a pair of scissors.
Yeah, and then we get crazy fucking Dr. Loomis, who has been nuts throughout this whole fucking film, which we actually posted a picture on our Instagram page if you want to go look at that shit. Because he made a face when he was catching a car ride. And he looked exactly like the Tobey Maguire like meme.
Where he like purses his lips and has that real cheeky smile and he just looks to the side because apparently this priest he was riding with was singing show tunes in the vehicle and he was just drinking out of his flask and he just turned to his left and was just like smirking like real tight-lipped. And I was just like, oh my god, this is too fucking great. It was like Loomis was either the 50-year-old version of Tobey Maguire or this was his long-lost father that we never knew.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck. What did we say? Tobey McMyers?
Tobey McMyers, yeah.
We said something else, too, and it was really fucking funny.
I forget.
But, Meyerman.
Meyerman? Meyerman. I need more pictures of Meyerman.
Damn it, Parker, give me more pictures of Meyerman. So, any fucking way. Yeah, the Dr. Loomis character loses his shit and is about to shoot the little girl when the sheriff's like, no.
Now, before you mention anything, we know, we hear you, we understand. How the fuck did Loomis survive an explosion of fire on the second film? He just does.
He just does with a little bit of scarring on his hand and his face.
So, yeah, he's basically Michael Myers, in resurrection stance, too. So he just comes out of the dead. Because
Right.
you can't kill fucking Loomis.
You can't have Michael Myers without Dr. Loomis for at least another few films. But yeah, he's about to kill the fuck out of this little girl. But guess what? That all just, like, literally a year later in 1989, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers comes out. They completely fucking ignore the fact that she fucking stabbed her foster mother.
Stop, Mike. We hear you.
Stop tapping around. No.
But yeah, the fifth one basically picks up where the fourth one left off, and he's being chased basically into the mine, and one of the sheriffs throws a stick of dynamite into the mine shaft, and you see him crawling out into the river next to it, and it blows up, and literally just like lazy rivers down.
He looks like he's having the time of his fucking life, man. Just like, and all the while this is playing, the familiar John Carpenter Halloween theme is playing as he's, just lazy rivering down this damn, and it's just so fucking comedic looking, because it's like that's the point in the franchise where you're like, motherfucker, this is god awful.
You would have think that they would have picked him up on the other side of the river standing up instead of the comedic, like I said, lazy river like esque, Benny Hill kind of thing in the background.
Yeah. But
So yeah, he eventually, becomes comatose to the point where he doesn't know what he's doing. He ends up finding this random stranger who lives in his, like they said, it's like a fucking pirate's cove.
That's pretty much what it looks like. And the fucked up part about this, guys, is like, okay, I get the fact that the lazy river thing was trying to sell. Oh, fuck, he got shot the fuck up. Like, big time got shot up. But look, we've all been there in the horror trope that the bad guy gets fucking maimed to hell and back, but still keeps coming back, which in this film, they plant the seed a little bit as to why. So he's in this fucking dude's place for a year, and you find out that Michael Myers has this little, like, fucking wrist tattoo that gets explained not in this film at fucking all, but in Halloween 6, which we will get to.
So, yeah, wakes up, kills the dude for giving him lodging and, shelter.
Yeah, pretty
all
much.
That shit.
He's like, I do not want to fucking pay. You've charged my fucking credit card through the fucking roof.
I'm going Dutch.
Yeah, I don't have this money. I'm just going to take your fucking life.
Yeah.
But, again, long story short, he kills off Jamie's foster sister, like, not even in, like, I think the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie.
Who has no pants on?
Yeah, she became No Pants McGee, which, I mean, not like we're really complaining, but still, it's like...
It's another trope in these three.
Yeah, no shit. These girls just forget to wear their pants, and it's goddamn funny, actually. So that happens. He murders the fuck out of everybody once again. And I mean, in some really cool ways. There's another dude named Michael, a character that you were like, oh, fuck, that was actually a pretty cool kill whenever he hit him with the fucking, like
that pitch sheet. Like, it's like a claw, basically, but it's like a farmer's tool. Yeah, he ends up scratching this dude's car with that tool, and he gets all pissy at him, confronts Michael, and doesn't even flinch and just, knocks him down with that fucking claw, like, straight into the fucking head. And
real hard.
Sells it the most whenever he's on the ground twitching his ass off, like, from the freaking pain and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, that was really cool.
Fuck yeah. And that was probably the best kill of the movie, I would say.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it all culminates with, again, crazy Dr. fucking Loomis. And in this movie, Jamie has some sort of, like, she's mute and has some sort of, like, telepathy with Michael. She sees where he's at, what he's doing, all this other bullshit. So, it culminates that Loomis uses her as bait to get him back to the Myers residence to kill him once and for all. So that happens, and he becomes Mr. Creepy Fucker. Like, he's literally lost his fucking mind in this one.
Yeah, because towards the end, like, he grabs Jamie, like, and the very moment she's trying to escape, he's like, no, Michael, you want her? Come get her.
Yeah, come get the little girl. And you're just like, wow. Would she have been safer just going to Michael instead of Dr. Loomis? Because, I mean, fuck, they are one and the same now. It's almost like watching Husband and Husband. Like, guys, just get married already and call it a day.
She might have been safer with Michael because that scene in the attic with the coffin.
Yeah, because he started to shed a little tear when she was like, Uncle, Boogeyman.
Yeah, he, like, put his hand out and she did something and lost his shit and just did Phantom of the Opera and, like, tossed the whole fucking attic to shit.
Oh, he fucked that place up good. But yeah, then that's where the whole, like, Loomis is holding her, basically. Well, he winds up pulling this fucking, like, big-ass, like, chain net and getting him down, and he's, like, whoops the fuck out of him with this big-ass piece of wood. And, I mean, he beats the fuck out of him to the point where he strokes out. And this was actually supposed to be the death of Dr. Loomis when he strokes out on him. Well...
So we thought.
Yeah, so Michael Myers is apprehended and put to jail. Which,
we forget.
Yeah, I was going to go there.
There's the Man in Black.
Who just... shittily, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm saying it. He shittily gets introduced by stepping off of a fucking Greyhound. It's the Man in Black. When we say this, you'll get it in the sixth one. Like, this man took a Greyhound to get here. Why did this motherfucker just not, like, poof into it or, like... I don't know, dude. Where the fuck was his entourage of people? Like, what the fuck? And that's because they basically made that shit up as they went along. They wrote this fucking character into the movie to explain some dumbass shit that happens in the sixth one.
The perfect name for him is the Shin in Black, because all you saw was the shins down.
Here come the shins in black.
Like, no joke, because the very end of the fifth film is based...
Halloween Defender. Sorry. Kill Smith.
Yeah.
Kill Smith's Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
The very end of the film is actually this guy in black shooting up the actual prison that he's held at and breaks Michael free.
But why?
We don't know why.
And we don't fucking find this out. Okay, 89. We don't find this out until 1995. when this fucking shit gets so goddamn convoluted that it is in two separate films, the same movie, two separate fucking cuts, one of which does not get seen for well over a fucking, like, 2 decades.
So you go from meh to
Michael Myers
to not so good to like, okay, this is completely crap.
Now, and this brings us to Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, or Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which is...
whichever cut you watch.
Yeah, and it is down to the theatrical cut, which a lot of you have seen, or the producer's cut, which is literally only available in the Halloween complete anthology box, or not anthology, complete series box set.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that motherfucker because I'd been wanting to see the producer's cut, not on YouTube, not on a tape trade, because the producer's cut had been tape traded in the 90s so much that it made its way to YouTube, and it had such a following that they decided, fuck it, let's actually like put the footage. Yeah, let's master the footage together and put it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll save you all the trouble and say this. If you want a lot of fucking gore and shit that just doesn't make sense, since nothing really makes sense anyway, just watch the theatrical cut. If you're actually following why Michael Myers is the way he is, please watch the producer's cut, because it's actually better. Like a fuckload better. And it has Paul Rudd in it in his first movie.
So basically we find out, I mean, kills aside and everything, that Michael is part of this cult, or he's a creation of the cult.
The Thorn.
The Thorn. And the tattoo we mentioned in the last film was the symbol that shows that he's bound by this curse, which the Man in Black is controlling him.
And the idea is that anybody that is bound by this curse has to offer their entire family as a blood sacrifice to this cult in order to save millions of other, or save millions, in order to save other lives within the cult.
Which, the most fucked up part about this film was the fact that Michael was forced to rape his own niece
and
to bear a child for the ritual.
Yeah, and this is where we find out that Danielle Harris did not get recast in this role, which was really fucked up, because the story behind this is that she was 17 at the time and wanted to be in this, and she legally got herself emancipated so she could fucking do this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They only offered her like $1,000 fucking dollars up front, because whoever it was like, you're a bit part, you get killed off in the first blah blah blah, we don't care that you were in 2 other films as an actual character. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? So she gets recast to somebody we don't even, who the fuck knows. When I first saw this, I didn't realize it was Jamie Lloyd until they fucking said her name. I was like, oh, this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the theatrical cut didn't even go into it. But you see this film, and this Thorn curse thing is probably like a decent explanation for it, because they actually say this actually gives him his immortality, which is why from the first film on to this one, he can't die.
So basically, he is going to stay alive until he succeeds in what he's supposed to do in his ritual, which he was about to be freed of that until he saw his own son on the ritual table.
Yeah, and I mean, again, long story fucking short, you know, he murders some motherfuckers, gets like, you know, all the way over there, and then like it's just like a big fucking like giant mess of fuckery, because at the end of it, Paul Rudd uses these fucking runestones and creates an alternate like what, a cancellation,
like a barrier almost. Like he basically nullifies them.
He fucking ruined it.
Yeah, Paul Rudd ruined it.
Paul Rune.
But yeah, he made this little circle of runes to nullify Mike, and
and all he says was Sam Hain.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck?
I don't know either. But we come to find out Loomis comes across Mike's body, and not only is not Mike, it's actually the Man in Black.
Which, come to find out, was Loomis's partner in the psychiatric thing. The whole time he's been in here. Yeah.
Then proceeds to transmit the power of controlling Mike to Loomis, which gives us these most like humorous emotional scream by Loomis I've ever seen. He just like looks to the side for a second and then just starts.
It takes him like 30 fucking seconds to even do this shit,
and just hollers like, ah, nah.
Yeah.
He's like a huge man baby.
Well, I mean, Okay, this was Donald Pleasance's last film, but god damn, this dude straight up. I mean, you have to hand it to the dude's a legendary actor. He was in James Bond film. His villain in James Bond was the fucking inspiration for the Dr. Evil character in Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, he was the president in John Carpenter's Escape from New York, which that's a fucking great movie. But I mean, the dude is was a legendary actor. He gave everything in every one of these fucking Halloween films. But I thoroughly enjoy his portrayal. But goddamn, you could just tell that, man, you know what? This man was probably tired of this shit.
Yeah, he was tired of Michael coming back.
Fucking tired of this shit, motherfucker.
He was tired of being crazy.
So when the reveal happens under the Michael Myers mask that is Dr. Wynn, who was the Man in Black, Michael Myers actually walks off in the Man in Black stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that effectively ends that storyline of the whole Laurie Strode, Jamie storyline. And here's the fucked up part, guys. Okay. This is where we're going to get... I guess we can go into the timelines like as we go through the rest of these films. If you want more of the Jamie Lloyd character, 1 through 6. That's your first timeline. This is the Laurie Strode and Jamie Lloyd storyline, 1 through 6. Mm-hmm. Cut it off. You're done. Here's where we're going to get into the second timeline, which follows Halloween and Halloween 2 from 78 and 81. The studio says, hey, guys, that was really kind of fucky. And to save this franchise from direct-to-video territory, which it was going to be eventually, they somehow lucked out and got Jamie Lee Curtis involved for what is called Halloween H2O 20 years later.
Which basically follows her as a professor at a high school?
It's this
or
really it's a prep school. Like this is like a fucking secluded ass prep school in California. So
right.
They kind of take the car crash ish shit, and basically what happened is she fakes her death and assumes the Carrie Tate name and goes off and has a kid of her own.
Who's 17,
and she's the headmistress of this fucking prep school. Now, in the beginning of this movie, Loomis's female partner from the psych ward comes home to find her house ransacked by you-know-who. And before we go any further, we say this is a second timeline because this movie actually ignores everything from 4, 5, and 6 completely.
No Jamie.
Yeah, she never had that daughter. In fact, in this story, Michael Myers has been presumed missing since Halloween 2 because the body was never found.
Right.
So in walks the chick, goes into her house. 2 neighborhood kids help her. And they go inside. They don't find shit, but they let her know her office has been ransacked. And turns out Michael Myers has gone in and found the file to Laurie Strode. So he knows where she is, who she is, and all that jazz. But not before he kills the fuck out of those 3.
Yeah, one of the kids actually had an ice skate through his face.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, then proceeds to go and hunt down Laurie, which he ends up driving homegirl's car, pretty much most of California, finds a pit stop that the car is like pretty much like just down to the rims at this point, down to the, core part of the tire. And then this, mother and daughter come up to the pit stop and just have this really like old bus-looking vehicle. And
he drives some jacked up vehicles in this franchise, dude.
Yeah, and
can I point something out before you go any further? I just thought about something. He's driving from Illinois to California, okay? In that same car, how did he get gas? Like, did that car just get really excellent gas mileage, or like, does he just take the mask off and become human, like really, really shortly? He's like,
because nobody knows him by the face underneath the mask; they just know him by the mask.
Yeah, so like, does he? But I mean, he's a psychotic motherfucker that just doesn't speak or anything. Just like, does he just like take his mask off and just like, here's my American Express card?
He probably doesn't even speak either. He's
just like slides it over.
Like he has the freaking knife in hand, has the card in his fingers, just like, here you go.
Yeah, they look at the knife and they're just like, fuck. But anyway,
yeah,
where you're at.
Proceeds to scare the kid and the mom.
In this like fucking highway bathroom.
And then takes the car.
Fucking car.
Drives the rest of the way to find Laurie.
Oh, man. and again, this is like the Dimension Films. Well, it's the second one in the Dimension Films era of the Halloween franchise. And guys, just goddamn, this was around the time when Scream had come out. So basically, horror had this kind of revival in the 90s where it was very self-aware. So there were some things in this movie that were a little self-aware, like the fucking characters, the 4 kids in this college or this fucking prep school. They're very typical of the times.
Mm-hmm.
You had a Josh Hartnett, who this was his first movie, like right before he filmed this and The Faculty simultaneously. So this was technically his first film.
Right.
And Michelle Williams and a couple of other people. But anyway, he makes his way downtown, walking slow,
killing faces.
That's right. Shank. Anyway, the plot is that all the kids on the campus are about to go to like this fucking camping trip.
Yosemite Park.
That's right. So, her son, which is Josh Hartnett's character, and his girlfriend, his other friend, and his girlfriend all stay behind.
To have like this like quadruple orgy, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
No shit. But Laurie Strode is unaware that they've stayed behind because the subplot is just like, she's having problems with him because she's so like bent over it being Halloween every year, and she's got PTSD from all this shit. And he is fighting with her because, in his own words, he's not responsible for her.
Right.
So they kind of have a falling out, but she decides, hey, I'll let him go. And because she was just not going to let him go. But he decides, fuck it, I'm going to stay with my friends anyway.
Because they weren't going either, so.
Yeah. So she's dating, like, the counselor on the site. And turns out, like, she actually admits to him, like, who she is and all this other shit. Well, lo and behold, throughout the entirety of the film, she keeps having like these visions of Michael Myers, but it never happens. But he's actually on campus this time, so she actually sees him,
and so does LL Cool J.
Yeah, God damn it, that was actually a fun addition to that movie. I'm not even gonna lie. He's surprisingly a really good actor, and comedic to boot, by the way. But anyway, he's the guard, and he's going to inspect Michael's truck that's just kind of parked out there, but kind of foolishly lets him in, and you're just like, fuck.
Then proceeds to go and take out everybody.
Yeah, see, so she sees him walking up, keeps closing her eyes. Is he really there? Is he really there? But her boyfriend bumps into her, scares the fuck out of her, but the boyfriend sees, oh, shit, there is somebody here, but he doesn't know who it is. But anyway, like, the thought clicks in her head because she kind of looks over as she's explaining to her dude everything that it's her son's 17th birthday. So she just goes and grabs her fucking pistol, and all shit breaks loose in this one.
Doesn't she get like an axe at one point too?
Yeah, like what happens is she finds her son and his girlfriend because obviously the other two have been butchered the fuck up. Which that one kill with the old girl getting her leg caught up in the fucking the little chute,
elevator
the
shaft. Yeah.
God. That was a mangled ass knee.
Oh no!
So like he kills her dude. Finds her. He finds her son and the girlfriend. They fucking haul ass, and like a little chase sequence. So they get to this door, and it's like there's a gate in front of it that they're sitting in. He's just reaching through trying to slash at him. Well, Laurie finally opens a fucking door. And the door shuts, he gets into the gate, and there's like a little circle window at the door, and she sees him for like the first time in 20 years. And it's like this one like iconic shot of the film, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens, and you're like, oh fuck, here we go. So they eventually get the kids to the car, and she tells them to fucking leave and get help, and she basically locks herself into this prep school.
Mm-hmm.
Grabs the axe, like you mentioned, to go hunt him down. But her dude got fucking butchered, by the way. Knife in the back, Halloween 2 style.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah. But, of course, they do the whole thing where Laurie's this fighter now, so in a few, like, cool sequences or whatever, she finally stabs the fuck out of him, and he falls off this little balcony area through a table, and holy shit, LL Cool J comes and grabs her. He's like, oh, he's dead. But he got shot in the fucking head and lived somehow.
Don't know how.
LL Cool J is just too cool to die.
Yep.
But she steals the body from the coroner that's loading him into the fucking van, drives off with him, And this was one of the fucking, like, holy shit moments of the film. Like, he comes out of the bag. Like, she knew he would. And that was the one thing this movie did play into, was all the tropes of, like, she puts the brakes on, he flies through the windshield, and she's like, really? Come on and get up. Fucking, he sits up. She's like, come on, stand up. Fucking stands up. So she fucking hits him with the van. They careen down this side of this fucking hill. And, dude, when he gets fucking pinned between that tree and that van, god damn, that's just painful to watch.
Yeah, because you see the van barrel roll into him, into a tree. So he got sandwiched between the two. And then here comes Laurie just with the axe, sees him, and he's looking up, and he's feeling his face like something's wrong. And he reaches out to Laurie, and she's like, no, I've done this before. That's not going to work. Proceeds to just axe swing his fucking head off, clean off.
It's because she took her Axtivia.
She wanted to ask him a question.
That's right.
Why are you doing this? I'm feeling regular, bitch.
That's right. She's beheading the competition.
Yeah. Because he got ahead of himself.
Yeah, he lost his head over it all. God damn it.
But that's how the movie basically ends, just the fact that she killed Michael Myers.
Yeah, and it would have been a really fitting end, because in the first movie, whenever it was over, you heard Michael breathing in the mask, you know, the kind of shit. Well, this movie ends with a kind of a shot of her after she's just kind of like lets all the tension go. She's finally killed him, and she's breathing heavy just like he did, and it goes to black. And you're like, holy shit, they actually fucking killed him. Nobody in this fucking franchise for 7 movies, 6, up until this one, has thought to cut the fucker's head off.
And then we get the next one. It's Halloween Resurrection.
In 2002, which, God, is the absolute worst fucking entry in this franchise, which is surprising considering Rick Rosenthal directed it, and he directed the second Halloween. How do you fuck this shit up? Wait, we know how.
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
And Tyra Banks.
God damn it.
So this one explains why things are going the way they do. So they start off in the very end of the last film, showing that, you know, he got beheaded and everything. Oh, no, that's not how it worked. They actually planned for him to basically switch bodies with a guard that was trying to get his body to the van, and he ends up killing, or not killing him, but he ends up like strangling his throat to a point where he can't speak, puts his outfit on the guard, and then Laurie takes that body in the bag. So she ends up killing the guard.
Yeah, and he can't fucking speak because his larynx is crushed. And god damn, because you open the film and she's in a mental ward for 3 years, and her hair's grown back out, and she's catatonic, or she's pretending to be catatonic, and she's saving all these pills in this Raggedy Ann doll, and she's just waiting for him to come back. Which is funny because she has this thing, like he does show up and bust through the fucking room again, like Halloween 2 style, just kind of like, fuck this door, you ain't shit.
Hi,
smash. And she hits him with a lamp, hauls ass, lures him onto the roof, okay? And we kind of sat there and we were just like, okay, there's this really elaborate like crane machine that she kind of, once again, she kind of Wile E. Coyote Elmer Fudd's his ass into, which he just gets strung up by his foot upside down, and she dangles him over the edge. But there's a piece of dialogue that you really got to pay attention to, because the 2 nurses that are going in there to give her medication, they're like, they keep catching her up on the roof every now and then. Don't know what she does up there. Seriously?
Yeah.
You haven't noticed this big crane fucking thing that she's obviously been, whatever.
With rope and shit.
Rope! So she lures him onto the roof, catches him. Oh, hi, Michael. And she's about to fucking, which, again, she cut his head off in the movie before. How the fuck is she just gonna say, oh, you're hanging upside down from, like, I don't know, the 5th story of this fucking place? I'm just gonna, dangle you over the edge and cut this rope and let you just fall. Like, dude, come the fuck on. You've seen him come back several times. Just fucking cut his head off again.
But no, she's like, no, I gotta make sure this time. So proceeds to grab the mask, and nope, she gets grabbed. He cuts the rope, and they fall to a point where he grabs the edge, stabs her in the back, and she dies. And this is pretty much the end of Laurie.
In the first 10 minutes of this film.
What the fuck?
And listen, out there, and this is just personally, just my opinion, you can stop it right there. If you want to end it with the Laurie Strode storyline and save yourself the fucking dumbassery that is Halloween Resurrection with all this internet streaming kill bullshit and the shitty acting that Busta Rhymes did and the useless Tyra Banks that's in this fucking movie, because she literally had no goddamn purpose in this fucking thing other than to probably draw anybody to watch it, which it was a poorly fucking received and profited film. The cast is utterly unforgettable. The movie was horrid. In fact, the only thing decent about this were the kills.
And then the comedic acting of Busta Rhymes trying to do karate because he actually watched Bruce Lee films.
Oh my fuck.
He actually tries to hold his own against Mike with karate.
Complete with the cartoony shit.
He does like this windmill kick and hits him in the head and does like little to nothing to him. And he doesn't hold up well to him. Like he gets away from him at one point. He got like hit in the chest or in the face or something like that. And towards the end of the film, he goes and grabs what's her nuts?
Oh, the chick that can scream so loud she breaks glass?
Yeah.
Again, don't know her fucking name because forgettable as fuck.
So proceeds to go and grab her in the room with all the wires and the surveillance and whatnot. And it's like literally just an electrical storm of fire and hell, basically. And he's like, what was one of the lines that he said? I know one was like, "Happy fucking Halloween, Mike."
Oh, he busts through the fucking door. Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Yeah. That was his intro line, and then as soon as he left with Homegirl, he was like, "Happy fucking Halloween, Mike."
And then his fucking speech at the end, he was like, they're like, "What do you think about Michael Myers?" He's like, "Michael Myers is a killer shark in baggy-ass overalls." And you're just kind of like, dude, that might be the only good, decent dialogue you had in this whole fucking thing. Because, look, guys, I'm really not shitting on this movie for nothing. It's really fucking terrible, okay? The mask is fucking horrible.
They even CGI'd it at one point.
They did that in H2O, but I think there were a couple of pickup shots in this one where it was the same fucking thing. Like, god damn, dude.
Yeah, wasn't it this film that had like the white hair or the blonde hair in it?
Oh, I think for maybe like one or two fucking shots. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because they had to reshoot like one or two scenes, and it was the different masks, like, because it had the white face, but it was just completely blonde hair instead of the brown hair, so it was just off-putting. I
forgot to say something earlier. The Dr. Loomis character got the fucking hell and shit beat out of him, but the motherfucker was still walking.
Mm-hmm.
I think Donald Pleasance like got the most shit kicked out of him anybody in this fucking franchise.
Yeah.
But for Halloween Resurrection, if you want to laugh at some shit, just watch this whole movie as it is and just laugh your fucking ass off at it. But if you're sitting there going, hey, I would like to see where the Laurie Strode character ended up, Halloween 2, then Halloween H2O and Resurrection. Just the first 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're good. And that is actually the second timeline. But wait.
There's a whole lot more.
Yeah. And it only gets even more convoluted from there. So pay the fuck attention. This is where we get a break from it, honestly, though, because the franchise actually lies dormant for 5 fucking years because this one did so terribly.
And then we get the Rob Zombie take on the Halloween franchise.
Which this was, again, divided. You're either, okay, I will tell you this. You're either a fan of Rob Zombie's work or you're not.
But if you're not, like, you really need to pay attention because he actually does some really interesting shit. Yeah,
and I mean, the one thing that drew me to the Halloween 2007 reimagining was that not only did it give like a stylistically different approach to the whole thing, but he explored Michael Myers' childhood for the first half of this film.
So if you were ever wondering what created Mike, what gave him this drive to be who he is, you basically find that he's in a troubled home, like very like trash, like hillbilly, redneck kind of feel to it. And he's just picked on by his dad. His mom's this stripper who, you know, just has like a troubled life. His sister's basically a fucking slut. And he has a baby sister by the name of Boo, who is just, you know, baby, innocent, you know, doesn't have anything to do with it.
Little Angel Myers, motherfucker.
So he basically gets picked on. He gets, harassed by his family and stuff like that. And he starts having these fits of rage. He has the mask thing going early where he just starts screaming when he has the mask on. And proceeds to start snapping to the point where he kills this one kid who bullies him in class because his mom had a flyer with her tits hanging out where she works at, and he got pissed off about that. So he grabs a freaking tree branch while this kid was walking home from school and just beats the shit out of him.
Very brutally beats the shit out of him.
So proceeds to the nighttime where he finds his dad passed out drunk in his recliner and just duct tapes his ass completely to the chair. He's not even aware of him being duct taped, by the way.
Yeah, he's drunkard, by the way.
Grabs his clown mask that he, famously does at this point.
Yeah.
And just slits his throat, like, just ever so gently, just slits it off.
Whoo! Blood everywhere.
And he just wakes up, like, in a fit and just, he dies there.
Yeah. And honestly, like, the motivation is there because what sprung this off, too, was he was supposed to be going trick-or-treating with his sister, Judith, who basically blew him off so she could blow some dude. Mm-hmm.
Which at this point, this is where we see the Mike Myers mask introduced in a very weird way. It wasn't just picked up by chance. It was the boyfriend of Judith picked it up during sex and put it on his face and said, "Hey, I want to do it in the mask." Why?
Fucking disgusting.
Why do I want to fuck William Shatner?
Because he's gonna latex both of his heads, yo.
No. So yeah, they proceed to kill the boyfriend because he goes downstairs and he just baseball bludgeons his ass to the fucking curb.
Oh my god! Like at least 10 to 20 fucking hits on this guy.
Goes upstairs, finds Judith, on the bed, all naked and shit, half naked and shit. Does this creepy little touch on her. I'm sorry.
That's where he finds the mask too.
That's where he finds the mask, yeah, and proceeds to kill Judith, just basically gut shot in the freaking stomach. Goes downstairs to get Boo. Holds her down on the steps outside. Mama comes home and proceeds to lose her shit because her husband, her daughter, and her boyfriend, her daughter's boyfriend, to be clear, all dead, and
not a clue why, because he won't speak.
Right. So this is where the Dr. Loomis character comes in to basically be his therapist to figure out why the fuck is Mike doing what he did. And he talks to a certain degree, has his fits every now and then he just falls silent. Well, 15 years later go by, and he's this towering behemoth. He's like 7 foot something.
Well, it's Tyler Mane, former professional wrestler, is playing him at this point, which he's just fucking hulking, dude. Like, just this big, massive motherfucker.
Yeah, mountain man, dude. Like, long fucking hair over the face. Like, this is probably the most terrifying version of Michael Myers you can possibly come up with.
Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely.
So, they end up trying to basically relocate him to another hospital. He gets escorted by 4 armed guards, breaks free from his restraints, kills all 4 of them. And he meets up Danny Trejo, which he's a fucking janitor in this movie, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and this character Danny Trejo's character had basically been taking care of Mikey since he was a kid in this place. He was looking out for him and shit.
And probably one of the kind of gruesome but also kind of funny ways of dying, he actually turns on Danny Trejo's character, drowns a little bit into this water trough that he had set up next to him, and then while he's sitting there choking on air, he grabs the TV from the top corner of the room and just slams his head with it on the ground. It's like, dude, like TV rots your brain and it also kills you, brain.
That's right. Smashing good time, sir.
Yeah.
But so he pretty much does all this, and of course, this is kind of where he kills the old dude in the truck stop to take his overalls.
Which was really cool. Like, this was like 2 massive people fighting over a fucking knife in a bathroom stall, like literally slamming the damn fucking wall.
Yeah, they didn't use stunt performers. It was Tyler Mane and I think Ken Foray was his name.
Yeah.
They wrecked the fuck out of this bathroom stall. Like, just 2 towering sons of bitches. And Ken Foray's like 6'5". Yeah. So that gives you perspective on how big Tyler Mane is, because he kind of towers over this motherfucker a little.
Yeah.
But anyway, that happens, and of course he finds his mask at the Myers home, and then from there it's almost a pretty damn faithful adaptation of the
The
original.
original one, yeah.
But with a Rob Zombie twist and some really cool kills, some, this, that, and the other, which it was a pretty good entry.
And then Laurie's very wildish on this one.
Well, the second one, yeah, so much more so. I mean, okay, at the end of the first one, they topple off the fucking, the balcony into the grass. Mm-hmm. She's gotten a hold of Dr. Loomis's gun, which is almost out of bullets, and she's trying to fire it off into Michael Myers' face. Well, he grabs her wrist, and she fucking shoots him in the head, and blood sprays all over her, and she's just in a screaming fucking mess, and it cuts to black. Halloween 2, which we're going to get into. 2 years later, Rob Zombie released a sequel, H2, Halloween 2, where the people, Mustafa Akkad, who had produced every Halloween film up until Resurrection, he passed away, and his son Malik took over, and they commissioned the Rob Zombie remake in 2007. But when 2009 rolled around, they kind of took the handcuffs off and were like, dude, make your own fucking movie.
And this was the Rob Zombie film. Like, this was the main, like, okay, if you want the Halloween franchise done by Rob Zombie, this was going to be it. Because there's a lot of sequences where it's very psychedelic, very just imagery, music video that you would see Rob Zombie kind of portray. Like, there's a huge focus on the mom, Deborah, and a white stallion. Basically, throughout most of the film, like, Michael is tied to the imagery of these two in his mind the entire time, which eventually leads to the point where, Laurie sees him and starts to wonder, like, why is she seeing him? And we get a lot of the same tropes with, Rob Zombie films, like just a lot of the gruesome kills. Like, they had one, I think, where no, that was in a different film. I'm thinking of the one with the neck. I'm trying to think of some more of the kills in that one.
Well, you had the one where they were transporting his body in the first one, and he pulls that one dude out of the truck and just like, oh my god, he kills the two guys that are trying to transport his body, and he goes off into the woods. Because basically in this one, Michael Myers is maskless for a good bit of this movie. He's bearded, he's long-haired, living in the fucking woods, he's killing motherfuckers. That one at the strip club when he choke slams that one dude and just pretty much fucking curb stomps his head into the fucking rocks.
I also just remember the one with the glass shard where he grabs a piece of the window.
Yeah, that's the beginning kill. He saws oh my fuck.
He saws the dude's head completely off and just tosses it.
Yeah, and just goddamn, like the kills in this one, just you hear him grunting when he's stabbing now. Like I think he's more primal in this one than he ever was before. Like the character, not just this iteration of him, but it just in general.
Yeah, like he starts to regress as a human being because he's so fixated on just like the primal instincts, the basic instincts.
The mission at hand. Mm-hmm. And dude, fucking Malcolm McDowell as Loomis was a pretty damn good call. But in this one, he's a total fucking prick, dude. And the reason Laurie's all fucked up in like the second half is, and she finds out about these visions, is because he writes a tell-all book and pretty much puts in the book that Laurie is his sister, which was classified information up until this point.
So now the whole world knows, and Mike knows where to find her.
Yeah, again, obviously. So, pretty much there are two cuts to this, which a lot of you out there have seen the unrated director's cut, but we've had the privilege of checking out some stuff from the theatrical cut, which is really fucking hard to get a hold of these days. So it all culminates. Like Loomis has kind of a change of heart. The Annie character gets killed, which in the first film and this one was portrayed by Danielle Harris, who played Jamie Lloyd in 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. So she gets killed, which Laurie's living with her at this point. But I mean, like it all culminates in this fucking barn house that he carries her to. Michael carries Laurie to, and the police are surrounding it. Loomis sees there's a standoff happening on TV, rushes down there, kind of tries to be hero, and holy shit, does he get stabbed the fuck out of in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like stabbed in the face. There's brain matter. His face is cut the fuck up. He looks like he's got a fucking Chelsea grin happening.
Yeah.
So much blood. Well, he fucking dies, and there's some gunshots happening from outside. So a sniper gets Michael, but he falls onto like all this like metal
rustic
rotting,
equipment. Yeah,
stabbed through him completely. So Lori was having a fit of rage this whole time, seeing the white pony and all this other shit. Well, she just stabs the fuck out of Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Like, relentlessly, just stabs the fuck out of him.
all after she was saying "I love you" and just several times.
Yeah. Then she comes out of the shed with the Michael Myers mask on, drops her knees, takes it off, and then you get the vision of her in this all white silhouetted like padded room basically, and she's got this evil grin on her face. And that's it.
She has like the mask like edged look on her face, which is really interesting.
Yeah, she her face became almost like the Shape mask.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fucking acid trip of a film to watch. I mean, honestly, if you really want to get down to brass tacks about it, it's a fucking acid trip of a movie to watch. And again, it was divided. A lot of people were like, oh, it's too trashy, it's too this, it's too that. It's got its fans and it's got its detractors, but I'll be honest and say, like, I enjoy these films for what they are. I don't, if it's somebody's vision, I want to respect their vision and check it out for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it to be completely fucking faithful to anything. I enjoyed them for what they are.
Right.
It's a hell of a lot better than Resurrection, I'll tell you that fucking much. Both
I think
of them.
any of them would be.
Yeah, even Season of the Witch. Season of the Bitch.
And it had very little tie-in to the original ones.
Look, guys, Resurrection was such a dumpster fucking fire, they needed a little bit of Halloween H2O to put that shit out.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
Just leave Busta Rhymes away from this.
No shit. Which, I'm not... okay, so... I know for a fact I got to check this one out. I know you haven't got to see this one yet. Majority of you out there have probably seen the 2018 David Gordon Green directed and co-written with Danny McBride Halloween 2018, which, again, we're going to get into the timeline here. If you want to see what really happened with Laurie Strode, Halloween 1978, and then watch Halloween 2018, because it literally ignores every fucking movie that came before it. This is a 40-year in the making direct sequel. Not 40 year in the making, but 40 years later, it is a direct sequel to the original John Carpenter classic. So good, in fact, I'm here to tell you it's good. Really fucking good. So good, in fact, that John Carpenter himself had come on board to be an executive producer, and along with his son and his godson, did the score.
Mm-hmm.
And holy shit. And we mentioned before that we think that the Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie was a pretty menacing Michael Myers. And I'm here to tell you, I was waiting for this. I was here to tell you, no, this Michael Myers is fucking like this is probably the best fucking thing. This is absolutely the best fucking sequel and probably one of the better entries in this entire franchise, holding up with the original. This movie is now the highest grossing of the whole franchise. It's made over $100 million worldwide at the box office on a really tiny budget. I think it was like a $10 to $15 million budget.
Damn.
Highest grossing in the franchise. I think it's either the first or second highest October opening of all time. And Jamie Lee Curtis is back as Laurie Strode. She's got a daughter and a granddaughter in this movie. It obviously takes place in Haddonfield again. We're dealing with a more outwardly PTSD-stricken Laurie Strode, an alcoholic Laurie Strode, but who has been training this entire time for Michael's inevitable return to Haddonfield, arming herself with guns, a fucking basement, like the whole fucking nine. I'm not going to spoil anything for people out there that haven't seen it, and especially, Cody, for you, but I'm here to tell you that it ties everything in nicely. It does an excellent job of being an homage to certain films in the franchise, but being its own fucking thing.
Right.
The dread is there. The suspense is there. The cerebralness is absolutely there. This is probably the best one to happen since the original. And I'm going to leave it at that. Again, Laurie Strode with Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, a big plot point about this one also is they do address that this is not Michael Myers' sister. And that is the biggest thing about what drew me to this, was I was so fucking happy when I heard the news that they were going to just do away with that whole subplot. So that just makes it even more crazy. Like, holy shit! Like he's coming back. The only thing that you do know from the trailers is that a British pair of podcasters come to do a story on him and Laurie. So they pretty much trigger him by bringing out the mask and all this other shit, and it just goes haywire from there. It's still in theaters. It came out on the 18th of this month. I highly suggest watching the original and then going to see this. God damn it, give this movie all your fucking money, because we actually may get I would call it a third installment if you want to call it just like the first one and then this one and then maybe a potential next one. They leave the supernatural elements out of it, so it kind of humanizes him again. He's just a psychopath and everything. So definitely check this out. Here are the timelines, though. This is why it's the Slashpoint paradox, guys. You have two different. It's a choose your own adventure. You can either go Halloween, Halloween 2, H2O, and Resurrection. There's one. You can go Halloween, Halloween 2, 4, 5, and 6. There's another one. You can go Halloween and then Halloween 2018, which is another one. Or you can say, fuck all that, I like Rob Zombie's shit, and just watch his too. And then you're like, oh, I didn't like any of this stuff. I want to watch Season of the Witch. There you go, you 3% of people out there.
Yeah.
You Halloween 3% of motherfuckers.
4 more days till Halloween.
Halloween. 4 more days till Halloween.
Michael Myers.
Fuck yeah. But as far as like just the takeaway, because I can honestly say like the new one that has come out is definitely fucking way up there for me. And I know you're a purist when it comes to this stuff right here. And because I really enjoy the first two, like the initial first two, because Halloween 2 from 81 was one of the rare sequels that I thought was just as good. If not, like a little more like kind of anxiety ridden as far as the creep factor goes.
I mean, especially with the scene where she gets out of the room, in her hospital room, and she's being chased by him, and she's stumbling in like a comatose, like half drugged, broken leg, state, and she's going like as full speed as she can while he's just like brisk, just walking.
He's brisk like iced tea, goddammit.
Yeah.
Mike's Hard Lemonade.
There needs to be a Halloween edition of this.
Can we please... Okay, the makers of Mike's Hard anything. Mike's Hard Dick, Mike's Hard Lemonade, Mike's Hard whatever the fuck out there.
Dick Warlock.
God, oh my God. Shout out to the man that portrayed Michael Myers in the second film from 81, Dick Warlock, for having the coolest fucking name out there. And for ripping that one motherfucker's head off in Season of the Witch.
Yeah, just android strength just ripped his fucking head off. That was really cool.
Dick Warlock.
Don't forget his brother, Bill Warlock.
I know, dude. William, not Bill. William
Warlock.
Dick Warlock. That means he's a warlock of dick.
Not, he's just good with his dick. Probably.
He's good with dick.
He's good at dicking around.
Oh, and guys, also, we forgot to mention, like, we talked about the cameos earlier in Halloween 3. That was one of them, just kind of a side thing in there. The chick that portrayed Annie in the first Halloween from 1978 was actually the drunkard's wife, or ex-wife. When the curfew in the town goes over, it's actually an uncredited Jamie Lee Curtis's voice, like, announcing, like, the town curfew and shit. Mm-hmm. But it's really neat to see that they were trying. But goddamn, dude, Dick Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another fun fact for like I think 1 or 2 shots in the new Halloween, they actually got the original guy that played Michael Myers in the very first Halloween film to do a couple of shots in the fucking full suit in this one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And have fun trying to figure out which scenes those were. Just saying, because the new guy they got did a hell of a job too. I think that's all I got. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I prefer I heavily prefer the 1978 directly to 2018 release. That's my timeline. Just me personally, but I'm sure you'll have your own, decision to make when you see it eventually.
Yeah, once I watch this one.
God, it's good. Just do it.
I'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it, or I'll stab you in the neck. Michael, what did you say that one few episodes back? Michael Nivers?
Michael Nivers.
Michael Nivers.
Hashtag fuck you, knife culture.
Fuck you, knife culture. Oh, we forgot to point something out that has been a long-standing tradition so far with some of these fucking movies. Little Mikey Myers in the Rob Zombie Halloween did not eat his motherfucking eggs. Oof.
He just beat the eggs. Because, he stabs freaking Judith in the stomach, so that's scrambling them.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Her ovary. Ovary eggs.
Her ovary.
Holy shit. All right, guys. I think we're gonna fucking roll out of here. You already know the drill. I'm gonna. I think we should just put the link to the box set in the show notes below to buy that motherfucker, because you should do yourself. Oh my god.
He's coming for you.
Okay, Mikey, we're gonna fucking. Okay, we'll plug your fucking movies. Okay, we'll plug your fucking movies in the box set in the show notes below.
I think he's walking away now.
Okay, good. Okay, hey, I told them to go see the new one. Okay. Thank you. Be sure to like, review, subscribe, and rate, and all that shit, Mikey.
And he's gone.
All right, cool. Fuck yeah, he's out of here. He's like, fuck it, mask on, and walking out.
Mask on, we kill off.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, shit. Okay, the rundown of our social media sites, if you would like to follow us on there. Facebook.com/SuperMediaBros. Twitter.com/SuperMedia_Bros. Instagram.com/SuperMediaBrosPodcast. Come look at our stupid pictures.
Or get stabbed.
God damn it.
In some way.
In the face, in the ass, in the side, right on the nipple, paper cuts. I don't fucking
decapitation.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, just don't completely lose your head over it. You can always come back for more if you have the Curse of Thorn. Just saying.
Be like Mike.
Yeah. Stop it.
Don't get some help.
Don't get some help. Or get some health.
Yeah.
God damn it. You ready to roll, sir?
Right.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this wonderful episode known as the Slashpoint Paradox. This has been episode 43 of the Super Media Brothers podcast. I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
I've been O'Connor.
Until next time, mask on!
Knife off.